guys frequented. There's a very famous photo of you and Larry decorating, blowing up balloons for the party setup and everything.
Well, the Loft is where I first started hanging out, where I really started hanging out. But I got my first gig working in a nightclub at the Gallery.
Okay.
And basically, a friend of mine was working there, and he was going into the service, and so I kind of inherited the job from him. And then I brought Larry in as well, and we just worked very closely with Nicky Siano, basically decorating the place, and and constantly in the booth with Nicky always, going through new music and going out record shopping with him, hitting all the labels in the stores and things like that.
And what else did you learn from Nicky? Because didn't he also employ a number of different turntables, or
He's the
sound
first person I
effects?
saw with 3 turntables, yes. But he would keep us in the booth very close to him, like we were his little brothers or whatever, and he would technically teach us how you listen to every song from beginning to end, over and over.
Here in Chicago.
Yeah, here in Chicago. They were just loft parties, really, a couple times a month. And he had asked me to come out and play. He really wanted Larry to come out and play. He was building a new club, and he wanted Larry to come out and be the resident and all the rest of the different stuff. And Larry just was not about to do it, because now Larry has left Soho, and he had been playing at Reed Street, and this is when he was working with Mike Brody, and they were making plans for Paradise Garage. So at that particular point, by the time Continental closed, construction parties were beginning on Paradise Garage. And so Larry's locked in the garage now. He's not leaving there. And and as much as they wanted him to come out here, Larry just didn't see himself coming out here. But he said, look, you need to go.
Yeah.
He was like, because the same thing I have here, you can have out there. He was like, you have to remember, Chicago doesn't have anything. He's like, and you'll be the first person to go out there and actually introduce them to, to what this is that we do.
Now, is it true that you knew Robert Williams in New York before?
Yeah, absolutely. Larry and I first met Robert Williams when we were about 15, I think. We both ended up in a juvenile home. For stealing pies and cakes off a bread truck. Hey, I can talk about it now. I don't mind. And we
pies and cakes off a bread truck.
Well, we had left this club. We were hungry. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. There was a bread truck sitting outside this restaurant. Larry had a bright idea. Here, you grab these, I'll grab these, and we were running up 2nd Avenue, and we went smack into the place. With 2 stacks like this, running up 2nd Avenue. So we ended up in this in Spofford Juvenile Home in the South Bronx, which was only 2 blocks away from my house. Think of the irony of that.
Yeah.
2 blocks away from my house. And Robert just happened to be one of the counselors there.
Right.
And Robert used to see Larry and I out at all these different clubs, and he would always say, well, what are you kids doing here? You're too young to be up in here, that kind of thing.
Right.
So when we ended up in Spofford, immediately he just took us under his wing there, and he would just, he was really like a big brother, someone that actually just looked out for us all the time. I mean, it seemed like we were in there for years, but we were only in there for like 2 weeks. I guess it helped to define what it was that I was doing over there, but I never really thought about it one way or another. I was just too busy having fun.
And at this point also, had you started to do the reel-to-reel edits as well at the night and doing that sort of thing? When did you introduce that element to your arsenal of what you could do?
I think like around 1979.
Yeah.
I started cutting up a lot of different tape. I was teaching myself how to re-edit because I wanted to get involved in production. And my train of thought is that it's a logical next step. Between something interesting between me and Larry. Larry has always been the person that's been probably the most rebel and just so locked into just this is everything and nothing else really matters. And the kind of kids we were, I mean, that was his train of thought. But my train of thought was, I'm not going to wake up one day and be 35 years old and still playing records. This is just not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense. Well, I just turned 54 this year, so the joke is on me. But where it was 5 years ago, it's in a completely different place. To start out in this business where there was strong camaraderie and everybody supported one another, and everybody pretty much playing the same thing, to it now being every man for himself. No 2 DJs really are playing the same thing now. And I think the advent of the internet and everything else, has really fueled that greatly. You know what I mean? Plus, you know, the advent of technology making it possible for anyone to make music in their bedroom also had a lot to do with that. You know what I mean? It took the production end of things the way I was used to doing it completely out of the ball game. You know what I mean? Because you know, the kind of components you have to work with now and computers you have to work with, you know what I mean? You can literally do this all in your bedroom and stuff. But you know, there's still a certain element that's missing, and I keep telling people this, and I get into arguments with certain people about it. It's two-dimensional to me.
Okay.
That's one of the problems with house music, is that it's two-dimensional.
In what respects?
It's two-dimensional. Well, it's two-dimensional in its sound, considering where it came from. It was three-dimensional because you actually heard the songs breathe. You heard the tracks breathe. Something like, you know, Move Your Body, you know, or, you know, Acid Tracks, any of those kind of things that was something you actually heard them breathe because they were done in real rooms. You know, they were done in real studios. Now they're being done in people's bedrooms, you know, on their Pro Tools studio, you know, on their Pro Tools setups, and I'm not knocking any of it. I'm not, but I can hear what's missing.